Heavenly prophetic message, 7 divine revelations of miraculous blessings coming your way. In the heart of a quaint English village, Mary knelt, her hands clasped tightly in prayer, trembling with both fear and anticipation. The warmth of the flickering candles cast shadows on the chapel walls, creating a sacred space filled with whispers of faith. In her desperate hour, she turned to St. Jude, the patron saint of the hopeless, longing for a glimmer of hope amid the trials her family faced. An unexpected layoff had cast a heavy pall over her home, like dark clouds blocking the sun. Every evening, she sought solace in prayer, believing with all her heart in unseen blessings soon to arrive. That night, as Mary prayed earnestly, an extraordinary light enveloped her. It was vibrant, blue, and illuminating a divine presence that sent her heart racing. Suddenly, visions flooded her mind, 7 revelations burst forth like stars against the night sky, each one promising miraculous blessings not just for her, but for the entire village. One by one, these messages danced tantalizingly in her mind. Restoration is coming. Joy will return. Provision will arrive. Relationships will be healed. Health will flourish. Fear will be lifted. And unity will prevail. As each revelation found its place in her heart, warmth washed over her, igniting a fire of hope that she could hardly contain. Mary rose, her spirit soaring. She rushed to gather the villagers, eager to share the miraculous messages she had received. Miracles are coming our way, she proclaimed with fervor, her eyes sparkling with belief. Yet, as she spoke, she faced skepticism. Mary, how could such a thing be? They murmured, doubt hanging thick in the air. A rift began to form, a divide between her unwavering faith and their cautious disbelief. Despite the skepticism, her soul remained steadfast, nourishing her own hope and the flickering light within others. Days passed, and to her astonishment, the miracles began to unfold. A village rift healed, a dispute long-standing mended, and unexpected provisions appeared just when hope seemed lost. Joy rippled through the community. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue, but just when hope felt tangible, tragedy struck. Mary's youngest child fell gravely ill. Panic gripped her heart, tight as a vice. She knelt in that very chapel, filled with fear and longing, begging for mercy. That night, the villagers rallied, joining in fervent prayer as the sacred aroma of candles mingled with hymns that floated into the heavens. Then, an undeniable moment occurred in that little chapel. A hush fell, like the world held its breath. Mary felt the air shift, charged with divine energy. Suddenly, her child turned, eyes bright and alive, healed by the touch of grace. Gasps of disbelief turned to tears of joy as the congregation erupted into praise, their faith bolstered against all odds. Yet, in the aftermath, questions loomed. The villagers felt a renewed connection, but the battle between skepticism and belief still lingered. What did the future hold? Would the revelations unravel their lives further, or would doubt still cast its shadow? The air was thick with anticipation, leaving everyone poised at the brink of divine promise, yearning for what lay ahead. The sun rose the next morning, casting golden rays over the village, illuminating the joyful faces of those who had gathered outside the chapel. Whispers of hope circulated like a gentle breeze, nudging the hearts of the residents toward belief. Mary felt the collective spirit, a potent force that throbbed with possibility. Yet, as she stepped into the sunlight, a shadow flickered past her eyes. Doubt was still there, lurking like a distant storm. Eager to embrace their renewed faith, Mary called another meeting for the villagers. She felt that the time had come to share the remaining revelations she had received, to help steady their hearts against the rising tide of doubt. With each story she recounted, the presence of the sacred light felt closer, wrapping around her like a warm embrace. Joy will return. She shouted, her voice ringing through the air. Provision will arrive. We've seen a miracle for our dear ones, and more is yet to come. Trust in this awakening, my friends. Yet, not all were convinced. Thomas, a respected elder, stood at the back of the gathering, arms crossed, his heart weighed down by years of hardship. Mary, he began, his voice steady yet somber. How can we truly believe when life has shown us so much suffering? Miracles are all well and good, but do they come at a price? A hush fell over the villagers as they absorbed his words. Mary felt her heart race, the challenge set before her. She knew they needed not just hope, but a clear challenge of their faith. What if the price of belief is our very willingness to let go of our doubts? She countered. What if in believing, we unlock heaven's blessings upon us? Through the murmurings, it became clear that Thomas's skepticism resonated. Others nodded, appreciative of his candor. But under that weight of uncertainty, Mary found courage. She could not allow doubt to take root again. Days turned into weeks, and while miracles continued to surface, new jobs for the unemployed, crops flourishing with unexpected bounty, Thomas's challenge echoed loudly in Mary's mind. She had seen divine shifts but now understood there was another layer to faith. She needed the villagers to grasp that true faith was not merely without doubt, but rather, a cherished relationship with the divine amid uncertainty. Consequently, she organized a gathering that went deeper than previous ones. She invited everyone to share their own challenges, fears, aspirations, losses. It created a safe space, much like the chapel during that first sacred night. Testimonies poured forth in waves, and as each person spoke, the atmosphere thickened with emotion. Tears fell freely, alongside laughter, bonding them in shared burdens and hopes. Now, together, they turned to prayer once more, embracing silence to invite divine presence. The air shimmered, a warm glow enveloped them. An overwhelming sense of community filled their hearts. Suddenly, Mary felt a new revelation blossom within her. Strength will emerge from our trials. Hope had transformed, it was no longer a singular pursuit but collective. As they prayed in unity, a deeper understanding of faith unfurled before them, a path towards something greater than they had envisioned before. But just as that flame of camaraderie ignited, a voice came from within, a quiet unease about future struggles that remained unseen. Mary kept her eyes turned toward heaven, where she knew only grace would lead. What does this new revelation ask of us? She whispered in prayer, the question hanging, filled with promise yet underscored by the weight of what lay ahead. How would they stand firm when darkness attempted to return? And as she opened her heart to discern, the light flickered against her eyelids, revealing the first hint of the next divine challenge awaiting them all. As the sun dipped low, casting an orange hue over the village, a sense of expectancy hummed in the air. Mary stood for a moment, eyes closed, breathing in the crisp evening air. The villagers had gathered once more, eager yet apprehensive. Her heart beat with a mixture of hope and trepidation, the lingering voice of doubt echoing in the depths of her mind. One by one, the villagers joined her in the circle, holding hands and forming a chain of support. Mary opened her eyes, surveying the familiar faces that reflected years of struggle. Their eyes, some weary, others radiant with newfound hope, inspired her to press on. We stand at a pivotal moment, she began, her voice steady yet soft. We have felt the stirring of something beautiful within our hearts. But let us not forget that each miracle we seek may come with challenges we must face together. The air thickened with intensity as she spoke, the weight of her words sinking in. From among the crowd, young Anna piped up, "Surely, if we can weather the storm of doubt, then there is nothing we cannot overcome." A ripple of agreement swept through the gathering, and Mary felt renewed courage well up within her. Yes. Together, we can nurture our faith, she encouraged. Let us share what we feel, what we fear, and what we desire most. Only then can we prepare for the blessings that await us. With each confession, a new layer of understanding unfolded. As stories poured forth, Mary noticed how they became a tapestry of pain and promise. Each struggle, whether it was a loss of a loved one or the worry of tomorrow's bread, drew them closer. Laughter erupted at memories shared, yet tears flowed freely at deep sorrow. In this vulnerability, the villagers found unity, their spirits intertwined like vines climbing toward the light. After several confessions, a sudden hush fell upon the group. In the silence, a shift in the atmosphere occurred. A gentle breeze caressed their skin, stirring Mary's hair and whispering as if carrying a secret message. She closed her eyes, feeling a sensation of warmth flood through her, an unmistakable acknowledgement from the divine. Then came the revelation. Preparation is our act of faith, she proclaimed, the words spilling from her lips like fresh spring water. As we ready our hearts, miracles will flow. It begins with gratitude even in uncertainty. I see now. Thomas exclaimed, the earlier doubt in his eyes smoothing out. Gratitude refines our focus, shifts our gaze from what we lack to the abundance around us. His voice rang with an unexpected confidence, and the weight he had carried seemed to lift. The villagers nodded in agreement, and one by one began to share bits of gratitude, the warmth of shared meals, the joy of community, the simple beauty of a sunrise. Each expression turned into a rich offering of thanks, echoing in the night air, transforming darkness into an enduring grace. Yet, even as they shared, Mary felt a subtle tension remain, a question persist that would not fade, a query posed by the Spirit urging her forward. What trials must we face to awaken fully to these blessings? She whispered inwardly, the weight of the uncertainty palpable among them. Just then, in the quiet after the final words of gratitude lingered, a figure appeared at the edge of their gathering, silhouetted against the setting sun. A chill ran through Mary's spine. Who could it be? And what message might they bring? As Mary's heart raced, she steadied her breath, sensing that this encounter held the key to the next step on their faith journey. Would they be ready for the trials that awaited? With each heartbeat, the divine mystery of their collective destiny hung in the balance, urging them to look beyond the scene and prepare for all that God had in store for them. As the figures stepped closer, a soft light shimmered around them, illuminating the features of a weary traveler. Mary squinted against the golden glow, her heart pounding with both curiosity and awe. The villagers turned their gazes as one, shifting from their shared moment to the newcomer. A sense of expectancy swept through the circle like an electric charge. Fear not, dear friends, the traveler spoke, the calmness in their voice cutting through the unease. I bring a message of hope and revelation, sent from above. Mary felt her breath hitch, a mix of anticipation and uncertainty coursing through her veins. The traveler was cloaked in simple garments, yet their presence felt profound, as if they carried the weight of ancient wisdom. Your journey has been fraught with trials, they continued, their eyes glistening with the light of understanding. But every challenge you face is but a prelude to the blessings that await you. The heavens have heard your cries. A collective murmur rippled among the villagers, deepening as hearts quickened. They felt the truth in the traveler's words, stirring a flicker of hope in their spirits. You seek miracles, yet you must prepare, the traveler urged, gesturing towards the dimming sky. 7 divine revelations shall translate your struggles into strength, transforming the fabric of your lives. Embrace this truth. Mary's throat tightened, a mixture of awe and apprehension curling inside her. What must we do? She asked. First, the traveler declared, release your burdens. Let go of the weights that tether you to despair. In doing so, you will find freedom. Who among you is ready to surrender? Several villagers, emboldened by the conviction in the traveler's voice, stepped forward, each clutching the intangible burdens they had carried too long. As they opened their hands, a visible lightness enveloped them, like a feather lifted by the wind. Second, the traveler continued, embrace community. Each heart among you is a vital thread in the tapestry of faith. When one of you rejoices, all rejoice. When one of you weeps, all weep. Who shall stand together in love? Hands tightened around each other in solidarity, laughter mingled with tears. A warm glow spread throughout the circle. Mary felt its warmth seep deep into her soul, nourishing her faith. Third, cultivate gratitude in abundance, the traveler instructed, their voice rising above the rustle of leaves. Let every moment of thanks be a seed planted in good soil. As you tend to these seeds, your harvest shall overflow. Inspired, the villagers began to share more, expressing gratitude beyond what they had already spoken, for laughter, for kindness, for the very ground beneath their feet. Each word was a spark, igniting the air around them with vibrant energy. As the traveler revealed the fourth, fifth, and sixth revelations, Mary drank in each word, feeling the urgency of the moment pressing in upon her. Each revelation wove deeper threads into their hearts, as if crafting a fabric that would uphold them in the trials to come. Finally, the traveler paused, looking out upon the village, the setting sun now a brilliant hue against the horizon. The seventh revelation is the most profound, they stated, eyes shining with celestial light. You must seek faith, not in the absence of doubt, but within its midst. When darkness shrouds your path, let your faith be the light that guides you forward. Will you choose to walk in faith? Mary swallowed hard. As the villagers nodded, each face flickered with determination. A chorus of affirmations followed, echoing the newfound strength in their hearts. But as the traveler prepared to depart, a palpable tension filled the air. What else must we uncover? Mary thought, her heart fluttering with unanswered questions. What more awaited them, as the figure melted back into the dimming light, leaving the villagers in a whirlwind of emotions? One lingering thought echoed in the silence. What final door do we need to open to unlock the true depth of these miracles? And thus the next chapter awaited. The villagers stood together, hearts racing, their eyes searching the fading light for the presence that had just filled them with hope. Mary felt an urge to move closer to the center, where the traveler had stood, as if the very place still buzzed with a divine energy. The air was thick with anticipation, a sacred hum vibrating through their souls. Did you feel that? Whispered Samuel, a kind-hearted farmer, his brow furrowed with thought. It's as if the weight we've carried is already lifting. Mary nodded, acutely aware of the new strength thrumming within her. Yes, she breathed. There is something coming. I can nearly taste it. As words of affirmation spread through the group, the villagers exchanged glances filled with understanding. It was time to reflect not just on the 7 revelations, but on what this new beginning truly meant for them. They had all endured trials, they all felt the scars of grief and struggle etched into their hearts. But now, there was a promise of transformation. Let us gather by the old oak, suggested Sarah, a wise elder known for her insight. Its roots run deep and wide, much like our faith. We can share our thoughts on how to embrace these revelations together. They moved as one toward the time-worn oak that stood like a sentinel, its hardy branches stretching skyward. The air turned crisp as twilight thickened, and fireflies began to dance around the edges of the clearing, illuminating small patches of grass as if guiding their steps. Once settled beneath the grand oak, the villagers encircled each other, hearts open and minds alert. Mary took a deep breath, feeling the pressure of anticipation dissipating. What does surrender mean to each of you? She started, her voice soft yet steady. One by one, they began to share. Peter, a father of 3, spoke of letting go of the fear that hindered him from seeking joy in the simple moments. I've missed too many laughs with my children because I worried about tomorrow, he reflected. It's time I surrender that worry to trust. Several heads nodded in agreement, each villager leaning closer, sharing snippets of their lives intertwined with the weight of fear and doubt. There was collective recognition and acknowledgement that surrender was personal yet universal. Next, Sarah stood tall, her voice a melody of wisdom. Embracing community means stepping outside our comfort zones. We must nurture one another's souls as we do our crops. Together, we will rise. As she spoke, Mary felt a deep-seated yearning for real connection arise in her heart. She saw the faces of her friends transform with each revelation spoken. It wasn't just words, it was an awakening. Gratitude. What about gratitude? Chimed in young Ruth, excitement radiating from her. How do we express our thanks? The blessings of today, small as they may seem, are gifts in this journey. A sense of affirmation surged through the group, igniting a shared excitement. They began to recount their daily encounters with beauty, the morning dew over the fields, the shared meals with family, and the comfort found in forgiveness. We must start a ritual, Mary proposed, emotion welling up within her. A time each week to gather, share our joys, and sow gratitude for the week ahead. We can cultivate our community like a garden. With each new idea brought forth, Mary's heart flourished. Hope gathered around them, wrapping them in the promise of new beginnings. Yet, a curious question lingered: how would their faith lead them through the inevitable storms ahead? As the night deepened, shadows began to stretch ominously across the path, and the air whispered of untold stories. A flicker of fear lurked beneath the surface. How would they remain steadfast when trials returned? With hope soaring, yet uncertainty lingering, the villagers found comfort in one another. Mary could sense that the next revelation awaited their discovery, a deeper understanding of their own hearts and the divine plan at play. What shall we uncover next? She wondered. What strength does faith offer that we have yet to embrace? And as the stars began to twinkle overhead, their hearts beat as one, united in faith, but the divine mystery loomed just before them like an unfathomable sea waiting to be explored. As the night deepened, an unearthly quiet settled over the villagers like a blanket. The air shimmered, filled with the fragrance of earth and the promise of something more. Beneath the great oak, they sat together, the flickering light of a nearby lantern casting shadows that danced across their faces. It almost felt as if the very branches above were reaching out to the heavens, joining in their humble gathering of hearts and minds. Mary felt an urging within her, a sense that the divine presence they sensed earlier was inching nearer still. What if we could ask for guidance? She suggested softly, her eyes glinting with hope. A prayer for clarity, for strength, for understanding. One by one, the villagers nodded in agreement. There was a sacred interconnectedness in the air, wrapping around them like a comforting embrace. The time had come for them to humbly ask for a sign, for the deeper understanding they sought. Peter raised his hands, palms open towards the sky, and offered the first prayer. Dear Creator, we ask for wisdom during this time of change. Show us your light, so we can navigate through uncertainty with courage. His voice echoed gently, and soon others joined. Each prayer resonated like ripples spreading across a still pond, touching their hearts and lifting their spirits. Ruth, the youngest, let her innocence guide her words. Thank you for every flower, every laugh, she whispered, her voice quivering with sincerity. Help us to see the gifts you have given us, even in the darkest times. We want to remember to cherish them. As their prayers mingled in the cool night air, Mary felt a warmth brush against her cheek, a gentle reminder of the sacred connection they shared. Suddenly, the lanterns flickered wildly, and an inexplicable sense of peace spilled over them. It was as if the divine was listening, wrapping each heart in a blanket of compassion. Then, as if the universe had paused to take heed, a soft glow illuminated the very center of their circle. The glow emanated from the ground, a delicate dance of light that beckoned their eyes. Gasps filled the air, and silence enveloped them, carrying their awe like a fragile wing. Look! Sarah exclaimed, her voice barely above a whisper. It's as if the earth itself is blessing us. In the soft radiance, words emerged. In your surrender and gratitude, you are invited into communion. The journey ahead is not for the faint-hearted, but for those who embrace love despite fear, trust in unseen paths, and weave their lives together like a tapestry. The villagers listened in amazement, hearts pounding, as the message resonated within them. It was not just a promise, it was a call to action, to brave the storms together, encouraged by the knowledge that they were being guided. What is this communion? Mary pondered out loud, seeking clarity. How can we step into this connection? A gentle wind swirled among them, carrying their hopes into the fleeting night. They each felt it an invitation to pursue the unity that faith could inspire. This communion was a thread binding them, urging them to reach out beyond themselves, to lean into one another. With a collective exhale, the villagers let go of their fears, allowing the chorus of the divine message to nestle within their hearts. They knew now that they were not destined to walk alone, yet, even as clarity washed over them, deeper questions bubbled to the surface. What sacrifices would this new path require? What tests must they endure to keep their bond strong? As the last flickers of light dimmed, leaving only the glowing stars above, the villagers' hearts brimmed with questions. With new revelations now coursing through their spirits, they felt ready to venture forth. But how would they nurture this communion amid the challenges ahead? With their hearts intertwined, they sat together beneath the vast starlit sky, pondering the next steps. And as the night deepened, the sacred promise beckoned, revealing itself just out of reach. The night wrapped around the village like a gentle embrace, whispering secrets only the stars could understand. Mary's heart raced as she encountered the weight of the moment, the glow beneath them still pulsing like a heartbeat, a radiant reminder of their sacred connection. Together, she breathed. We will journey together. Her voice wavered, but determination stirred within. Yes, Peter replied, his eyes shimmering with wonder. But what does it require of us to move in this communion? The question hung in the air, heavy yet sacred. Just then, Ruth's small frame seemed to brighten, a beacon of pure faith. Maybe it starts with simple things. Sharing meals, helping each other. We can be the light for someone who feels lost. Her suggestion rang out, awakening smiles among them. The innocence of her spirit ignited sparks of possibility. A warm breeze whispered through the leaves, as if affirming Ruth's words. The villagers huddled closer, inspired by her touch of wisdom. Sarah's voice joined the chorus. What if we write our prayers, our hopes, and share them? We can leave them for each other to find. The idea was met with nods and murmurs of agreement. The lanterns flickered once again, echoing their rising excitement just as each heart began to harmonize in purpose. As we nurture our bonds, said Peter, we also need to nurture our faith. We must remember the love that brought us here, the love that lights our path. With a shared courage born from their prayers, they made a pact each day would be an opportunity to grow, love, and lean on one another. Each act of kindness would strengthen the threads of their communion, weaving a tapestry touched by heaven itself. Still, doubts whispered in the corners of their minds. What about old wounds and fears that might rise? Would past grievances threaten to unravel their newfound hope? Mary could sense these unspoken questions swirling within, heavy yet poignant. And so, she spoke out, we must trust the light we have found. If we embrace it, the shadows cannot consume us. The night deepened, and the sky dazzled with stars that seemed to pulse in rhythm with their gatherings. Each heart felt light, yet still burdened with the weight of their fears. Their prayers had been answered in many ways, yet clarity sought deeper roots. Suddenly, the glow beneath them shifted again, morphing into intricate patterns, revealing scenes of joy, the harvest, laughter, and healing. Yet amongst them, a storm brewed on the horizon, dark clouds hinting at the trials to come. What is that? Sarah asked, her breath catching as she pointed. Is it a warning? No, Mary replied, it's a challenge, a test of our resolve. She could see it now, a confirmation that the journey would not be without strife. They had been chosen for something great, but such movements required strength and faith to overcome adversity. As the awe settled in, each villager chose to face the shadows that might come, bonded by the promise of communion. They would rise together, arms entwined, facing whatever storms lay ahead. Then, with hearts open and spirits ready, they stood under that magnificent sky, brimming with unanswered questions. How would they rise when darkness crept upon them? What awaited them beyond tonight? They felt the pull of the horizon, a shiver of adventure met their hearts. And with that, a new dawn was just ahead, waiting to embrace the light. What transformations would unfold as they stepped into the unfolding mystery? As the night wore on, the villagers stood together, each grappling with a profound sense of anticipation. The weight of the unknown hung over them like a silver mist, thick with the promise of change and challenge. The glow below flickered, echoing their uncertain hearts, illuminating their shared resolve. What do we do now? Peter finally spoke, his voice steady but soft. The question drifted among them like a feather, searching for grounding. Mary looked around at the faces illuminated by the gentle light of the lanterns. Here were her friends, her family, the ones who had shared in laughter, tears, and countless joyous moments. We gather our hearts and prepare, she replied, her voice rising with hope. We let love guide our steps and remind each other of our purpose. Ruth nodded earnestly, fervor burning in her small frame. Let us embrace this challenge, she urged. Not as a burden, but as a way to deepen our faith together. Her enthusiasm was infectious, a ripple of something holy dancing among the crowd. I feel it too, Sarah chimed in, her hands clasped before her heart. There is something powerful waiting for us. We need to be open and ready. The villagers began to murmur among themselves, the energy transforming from uncertainty to possibility. Ideas flowed like water over stones, pooling together in their minds. They would create a vision for their journey. Let us have a gathering, proposed Peter, a new spark igniting in his eyes. Not just for us, but for everyone in the village. We can share our prayers, hold hands, and invite others to join. Together, we can ask for guidance and strength. A cheer erupted from the crowd. They imagined candles lighting up darker corners, illuminating the hearts of those who felt lost. In this commitment, the villagers found unity, a thread weaving them closer. As they spoke and planned into the evening, the rhythmic pulse of their collective prayers began to resonate, like a heartbeat connecting with the divine. The stars overhead twinkled in synchronization, shimmering in approval of their resolve. Let us create a tapestry of prayers, suggested Mary. We will weave our hopes, our dreams, and even our fears into it. Each thread can represent a person's offering, a symbol of our faith in one another. The villagers leaned in, excitedly sharing their ideas, each voice lifting the other. Finally, all eyes turned toward the soft glow beneath their feet, fascinated as it shifted again, revealing vivid landscapes of possibility: a bridge, a garden, an open door. These were reflections of their newfound dreams, urging them to move forward. In the silence that followed, a gentle wind swept through, wrapping around them like a divine hug, whispering secrets of grace and hope. Mary felt her heart swell as she recognized the miracle. They were beginning to reshape their destinies through faith, through togetherness, yet, even amidst laughter and hope, echoes of doubt lingered. A flicker of anxiety brushed the edges of their minds. How would they stand strong against the looming dark clouds? What if they stumbled, or worse, what if they failed? Remember, she said, echoing her previous reassurance, the darkness cannot overwhelm us as long as we hold each other close and let our light shine. It's in the unity of our voices that we will find strength. A solemn nod passed through their ranks. Here they were, on the cusp of something grand, teetering on the precipice of both love and fear. As the night grew deeper and the stars bore witness, each villager felt the stirring of something profound within, like the first breath of dawn upon a new day. Mary inhaled deeply, glancing toward the horizon again. This is just the beginning, she said, her voice vibrant with possibility. But what must we prepare for as we move forward? And so, wrapped in newfound unity and light, they turned their gaze to the future, each heartbeat syncing with that of the divine, ready to face an unknown world beginning to unfold. What divine opportunities awaited them in this sacred journey ahead? As dawn broke, a soft golden light poured over the village, painting the earth in hues of hope. The villagers stirred, their hearts still aglow from the night's gathering. Each one felt the promise of new beginnings tickling their souls. It was as if the very air shimmered with divine energy, coaxing forth their dreams. Mary emerged from her home, drawn outside by an irresistible urge. She felt the call of the morning and the warmth of a new day. With purpose in her step, she made her way to the village square, where others were gathering, curiosity lighting their eyes. The excitement was palpable, everyone seemed eager to share their newfound inspirations and aspirations. Good morning, everyone. Mary greeted, her smile radiant. What do you think the dawn brings us today? We've been given this gift, Ruth replied, her voice bursting with enthusiasm. Let us not waste a moment of it. We need to begin weaving our tapestry of prayers. Peter piped in, his hands animated as he spoke. Each thread is a voice. Let us make our prayers visible, so everyone can see how much we believe in our collective strength. We must share not only our hopes but also the challenges we can face together. The villagers nodded, soaking in the words that echoed their own thoughts. It was time to move beyond words and turn their intentions into action. They spent the morning gathering supplies, from colorful threads to pieces of cloth and ribbons. Laughter danced around them like the sunbeams breaking through the clouds. As they worked, a sense of divine presence enveloped them, stirring memories of past blessings. Each person recalled a time when they had felt uplifted, protected, or guided. Inspired, Mary found herself walking through the village, collecting stories and blessings from each neighbor. She listened intently, her heart swelling with gratitude to witness the canvas of lives filled with hope and resilience. With each story shared, Mary felt a wellspring of faith swell within her. These experiences were not mere tales, they were fragments of something larger, a divine narrative weaving through their lives. "Let us dedicate this tapestry," she suggested, her voice steady and clear. "Each square we sew will carry a blessing. It can remind us, in times of doubt, of how far we've come together." Agreeing, they huddled closer, gathering around a large table they had set in the village square. As day turned to evening, they began the intricate work, their fingers nimble as they stitched prayer into fabric. The sound of laughter mingled with whispered prayers, creating a symphony of devotion that attracted neighbors out of their homes. Drawn by the warmth of unity, they wove pictures of gardens blooming, bridges connecting worlds, and rainbows arcing across the skies, each image encapsulating their hopes and prayers for the future. With every stitch, they felt the tension of fear loosening its grip, replaced by the comforting embrace of community. "Let us share a prayer together," Sarah said, her eyes glistening. She rose and extended her hand outward, connecting with her neighbors. "For each challenge we face, let us find strength in love and unity." So they prayed, their voices intertwining like thread in a tapestry, weaving together deep faith and fervor. In that moment, an undeniable sense of divine presence wrapped around them. The air shimmered as if the heavens responded, confirming their labor of love. As the last rays of sunlight kissed the horizon, Mary stepped back to gaze at their work. It was a vibrant tapestry of colors and emotions, an emblem of their faith, their hope, and their fears transformed into something beautiful. Yet, as they admired their creation, a gentle whisper brushed past them, a reminder that the journey was far from over. The wind swirled softly, carrying a scent of promise, and above, the stars began to twinkle. What is to come next? Mary pondered aloud, the mystery dancing in the air. Little did they know, an unexpected challenge loomed just over the horizon, one that would test their bonds and faith in ways they could not yet imagine. How would they respond when the true meaning of their tapestry was revealed in the face of adversity? As dawn approached, the village awakened with the promise of a new chapter. Mary stood at the window, gazing out at the tapestry they had woven together. Each thread encapsulated stories of triumph and faith, yet a sense of anticipation hung in the air, tangible like an unshaken leaf. The villagers gathered in the square, the soft sounds of morning mixed with laughter and shared plans. The tapestry stretched across a makeshift frame, vibrant against the backdrop of the rising sun. They marveled at its beauty, each patch telling tales of hope, union, and divine provision. "Today, we will celebrate," Mary announced, her voice ringing with conviction. "We will unveil our tapestry, a testament to our faith, but also to prepare for what lies ahead." Excitement bubbled among the villagers. They instinctively understood the need to rally together, to face an impending test of their resolve. As they shared stories, prayers, and laughter, a serene sense enveloped them. "When we walk in the light of unity, there is nothing we cannot conquer," Mary continued, her heart wild with gratitude. Yet, as day broke fully over the village, a figure appeared in the distance. Mary's heart sank. It was Thomas, his face drawn tight with worry. He hurried toward them, urgency in his steps. The air thickened as villagers stopped and turned, sensing the tension. "Mary!" he called, his voice carried by the wind. "There's trouble. A storm is brewing, the river has overflowed, threatening the fields and homes. We need to act now." Tension gripped the square as murmurs rippled through the crowd. Mary felt a wave of anxiety wash over her, but she sought the light within. "Together, we can face this," she shouted, her spirit ignited by both fear and determination. "We have seen miracles. Our faith is our anchor." With fervent hearts, the villagers sprang into action. They formed chains of labor, a united front against the forthcoming flood. In the midst of the chaos, Mary knelt and prayed fervently. "Lord, grant us strength. Help us protect what you have blessed us with." The storm clouds rolled in, thick and ominous, and as rain began to fall, the villagers worked tirelessly. They wove barriers of sandbags, sang hymns that soared to the heavens, and called upon each other to remain steadfast. Lines of prayer echoed from one heart to another, a lifeline of faith flowing through their collective spirit. Hours past, time felt ethereal as the rain poured. Yet the villagers stood strong, braving the relentless storm. Mary felt the intensity of their bond, a luminous thread burning brightly amid darkness. Then, as the sky darkened, and the winds howled, something extraordinary happened. The fabric of their tapestry rippled with an inexplicable energy. In that moment, Mary understood, their journey together had transformed them. Through trials, they had become a living embodiment of faith, a community bound not just by hope but by radical love. Just then, a blinding flash illuminated the skies, and the storm paused. They looked around in bewilderment. Fields, though battered, stood resilient. Water pooled but flowed harmlessly away from homes. What had seemed like devastation transformed into a miracle of divine protection. Cheers erupted among the villagers, their hearts thrumming with victory. In disbelief, they realized the river had shifted like the tides of their faith, guided by unseen hands. The storm had tested them, but they had risen together. Mary, radiant with joy, lifted her eyes to the heavens. "Look at what our faith has done. We stood united, and God has honored our journey." Tears of gratitude fell, blended with laughter and shouts of thanksgiving. Strength emerged from our trials, just as the Lord promised. Thomas marveled alongside her. Grasping her hand, he spoke softly with a glimmer of newfound belief illuminating his eyes. This was not just a challenge but a blessing disguised. Days passed, and the sun returned, casting warmth over the villagers. They transformed their tapestry into a public gallery, a beacon of hope and resilience. As neighbors came to witness the weaving of faith, tears flowed and smiles glistened. Each gaze reflected the truth that they had discovered strength through unity. Mary stood, watching in awe as people shared their fears and dreams. From that day forward, every gathering would remind them that faith isn't a tranquil path, it's a journey of trials and triumphs, each step binding them together like the threads of their tapestry. With hearts empowered and spirits ignited, they sang songs of praise, ready for whatever lay ahead, trusting that divine providence would guide their footsteps. The villagers embraced their newfound purpose, woven together in the rich fabric of faith and love, ready to face life's storms with unwavering resolve. In this sacred communion, they had unlocked the essence of true miracles, not merely in moments of joy but in every heartbeat, every shared prayer, and every burden lifted through community. And as they stepped forward, Mary knew they were called not just to believe in miracles but to be miracles unto one another. Now is the time for you too to step forward. Subscribe immediately to this channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories that can touch your heart. Leave a like now to help feed the algorithm so these messages can reach those in need. Comment below your reactions and testimonies about Mary's incredible journey. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who also need to see this manifestation of hope. True servants of God understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Let us spread the light together.